How's it going, everybody? We are talking about politics today, so if you got any questions about politics, let me know in the chat, and I will do my best to give you a good answer. There is no such thing as a dumb question, so you do not need to worry about getting roasted or teased for not knowing things. We are just here to give good faith answers to all of your good faith questions. I know that politics can be really intimidating if you don't know anything about it at the top, so it is difficult sometimes to get started with learning about politics, and that is why I make myself available here to you all to make it so that you have a safe space to ask questions about politics. I do not believe in making people feel silly or stupid for not knowing things about politics. I also don't judge people based on their questions. You don't got to worry about if if I ask this, he's going to think I'm some sort of MAGA lunatic. Or, if I ask this, he's going to think I'm some sort of liberal cuck. There's no judgments here. You can tell me you voted for Trump, and I'm not going to curse at you or anything. I'm just here to answer all of your good faith questions about politics. Adonis says hello. Hello, Adonis. So, yeah, if you got any questions about politics, let me know in the chat, and I will do my best to give you a great answer. There's no such thing as a dumb question. There's no roasting. There's no debating. I'm not going to debate you. I am just here to answer your questions. Curtis, where do you see this administration in about 8 months? I have no idea, Curtis. This is the chaos administration. They are doing everything and nothing. They are incompetent and also operating with laser efficiency. It is a complete fucking nightmare, and I wouldn't even hazard a guess to say where we're gonna be in a week from now. And this is part of the reason why I told people not to vote for Republicans, because I knew this shit was going to happen. All right, any other questions? Hit me up in the chat. I am available to answer all of your questions about politics. There is no such thing as a dumb question. I do not believe in making people feel bad for not knowing things. I know politics can be really intimidating to try to figure out when you're just getting started. Jake Blake says, "Are we cooked?" I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that we're fine, but we're definitely not done. We're not cooked. We still have the power to change things. We still have the power to reverse course and make things better. We just all have to do work in order to make that happen. And it sucks. I don't want to do the work either, but that's the only way that we get through this. Nalasambuchi says, "So you are happy that Trump got in?" I am 100% not happy that Trump got in. Creed says he's doing what he said. Yeah, and I told people that that's what he's going to do. Keaton Federer said, "You right or left?" I'm left. Nancy, there is no constitution in the government webpage. Yeah, they took it down. Nikki, how do we get out of this mess? It's an absolute answer. What can we do? It's a bad answer, Nikki, but we have to do things. We have to do things. We have to do work. We have to call our representatives. We have to go to their offices. We have to put political pressure on them to do the right thing. That is doubly true if you live in a place where you are represented by a Republican, because Republicans have all the power in government right now. Democrats have a tiny bit of power in the government, so you can also call your representatives if you live under Democrats. Just tell them, do everything you can to stop them, slow it down if you can. There's no wrong answers in a brainstorm. Just do shit. Get out there and make your voice heard. Now, that's the short-term work that we got to do. The long-term work that we got to do is we got to make sure that we win the midterms. And we got to make sure that people know about the midterms and know that the midterms is how we, the people, are able to change the people who are currently in control of the government. And you got to convince them to vote for Democrats. You got to convince them to vote. You got to make sure that they're registered to vote. You got to make sure that they have all the things they need to vote if they live in a state that has voter ID laws and shit like that. Make sure that they have the day off to go vote. What else? Protesting, striking, boycotting, all of these are the power that we have as citizens, and one person can't do it, but if you link up with a bunch of other people that are doing it, then suddenly we have a lot of power. Look for organizations that are already doing this work and do work for them. Indivisible, Vote Save America, Run for Something, follow AOC and Bernie Sanders if it feels like they've got their finger on the pulse of Resistance 2.0. Keaton Federer says, the last 4 years was good in your mind. It was better than what's currently happening, Keaton Federer. Jake Blake says, when I ponder too much, I start to collapse and fall apart. Part of this work is self-care, and part of this work is stepping away from politics every now and again. And, it can be very frustrating. I definitely have really dark moments when I'm reading the news and I'm just I need to step away from this for a little while and play some Tears of the Kingdom on Switch. Jake Blake says, I envy your ability to stay so level-headed. Yeah, I'm a pretty zen human being. I'm chill as fuck, and I've been this way since birth. One time I drove through a tornado, and my brother was in the passenger seat, and he was losing his fucking mind, and I was cool as a cucumber. And my parents say that this is because when I was born, they were trying a new thing where they made the room really warm and comfortable, and instead of slapping the baby on the butt, they put me into a warm bath. And so, yeah, that's the vibe there. Cohee Butterfield says, what is better about the last 4 years? Uh-oh. Sorry, we're having some connection issues here on TikTok. Having some connection issues, everybody. So sorry about that. Let's see here. Keaton Federer. Somebody asked me. Cody Butterfield says, what is better about the last 4 years as opposed to the last few weeks? Okay, well, there wasn't an unelected billionaire ransacking the financial departments of our government, plugging in unsecured, unregulated hard drives that have fucking who knows what, leaking all of our personal information, social security numbers, everything. All that shit is now stored on a hard drive and owned by Elon Musk. They're trying to shut down agencies without authority. They're firing people without authority. It is a naked power grab, the likes of which we have never seen in this country. So, yeah, that wasn't happening. Also, eggs are more expensive now. That was the whole fucking thing. And Trump is threatening to do ethnic cleansing in Gaza, which is also worse than it was before. So, yeah, things are worse now. Things are worse. Number one fan says, have you heard of Facebook? I have, and I've actually just deleted my profile. David says, they were spending senseless money. No, they weren't. The Democratic administration was not spending senseless money. Cody Butterfield says, you mean saving billions of taxpayer dollars? If you spend less, you get less, So it's a little bit like not buying food for your family and your family's starving to death. And you're like, but think about the money we're saving. Brendan says, are you a Democrat? Yes, sir. Dutch V420 says, beta male. That's weird because your mom called me an alpha last night. Konstaki Sky says, the only reason you're mad, we both know. Sorry, let's see here. Sorry, I lost your comment, but I don't think it was a question or a nice thing to say. Manny R says, why isn't anyone doing anything? Lots of people are doing things. Manny R, look for the helpers. Open your eyes. There's protests happening in 50 states today. Democrats were, camping out outside the financial building, whatever the fucking building is called. The people are doing stuff, and you can join them if you like. Cash Money Brethren says, do you think Kamala will run in 2028? I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. I'm more concerned about Elon Musk taking over the payment systems of America. Spike, this country is too volatile to pick Democrat, Republican. You have to vote on the issues. I do vote on the issues, and the Democratic Party represents me in the issues. I believe in things like climate change and taxing the rich and making sure that our air is clean to breathe and our water is clean to drink, and taking care of our citizens, even if they are poor or marginalized. Let's see here. Kimberly Ann says, bird flu, heard of it? Yes, I have heard of it, and I'm worried about it, especially since the Trump administration is doing everything they can to make it so that we are not prepared for future pandemics. User a whole bunch of numbers says, what about the last 4 years? They were a cakewalk compared to the last couple of months. Let's see here. Joe Numbers Walker says, what do you think about Trump's ethnic cleansing? I think it is exactly what I said was going to happen. He is going to be in league with the far-right Israeli government to try to remove Palestinians from Palestine. Maggie says, do you support LGBTQ? Yes, I do. Alex, so happy Marianne Williamson did not win the DNC chair. Me too, but I also don't think that she was even close. Pepe Guns says, Republicans are using the wealth fund to nationalize the means of production. We have no clue what the wealth fund is going to be used for. The wealth fund hasn't even been established yet. I am concerned that it's going to be another vehicle for Trump to grift and for Elon Musk to grift, because that is literally all that they have done since they have been in power. Kimberly Ann said, bird flu killed chickens. That's why eggs were high. Oh, is that why the price of eggs is high now? Is that not why the price of eggs was high during the Biden administration? Because it seems like people on the right were just blaming the Biden administration for doing that. But now that Trump's in office, the problem is the bird flu. It's not his fault. Well, he promised to bring down egg prices in his first day in office, and he hasn't. So fucking explain that shit to me. Buttersmilk Biscuits, did I buy my lot in Gaza yet? No, I have not. I don't think we should be making jokes about that. Those are real people's lives. Let's see here. Alex says, I can't believe they certified Tulsi Gabbard. Well, I am not, concerned. I am not surprised. And my concern is exactly as high as it was yesterday. Let's see here. This person is saying something anti-Semitic. So that is a report and a block. So very excited about that. Always happy about doing that. There we go. All right, submit that. And go ahead and do a block as well. Okay. Alex. Yeah, I read that already. Nalasambuchi says, so you're blaming Trump for eggs. He just got in. It took Biden 4 years to do nothing. That is completely inaccurate. Trump said he was going to lower costs on day one. He hasn't lowered costs. I am merely holding him to the promise that he made to the American people, the people that voted for him. I understand that the situation is more complicated, and I understand that it's much more complicated than the way that you're interpreting it as far as like Biden doing nothing. Biden brought the inflation that Trump caused back down from 9% to 2.4%. So yeah, Biden did a lot of stuff. But Trump said he was going to solve, the cost of living crisis on day one. So why hasn't he? Let's see here. Z, speak truthfully on the tariffs. Don't lie. I haven't said shit about tariffs. Poopy Duke says, do you like those books about those clothed bears who share your name? Yeah, I read them when I was a kid. That was pretty cool. Chris Jacobs over on YouTube. This is less political, but any chance of you doing a tour with Sammy Obeid and possibly getting back to Toronto? I like Sammy a lot. I know that he works with Steve, who is my boss. And so, yeah, if Steve ever wants to recommend me to open for Sammy, I'm definitely down for that. Jenny over on YouTube says, do you think our senators are doing enough to push back? They're doing stuff. And I don't know if there's more stuff that they can be doing, but there's also, they have limited power in government right now. So, I'm happy for everything that they can do. Honestly, the lion's share of the work that needs to get done to stop this is us. It is the citizens, because private industry has already bent the knee and, kissed the ring. The Republican Party is perfectly in league. The Supreme Court is perfectly in league with Trump and Elon Musk and MAGA. So the only people that are left are the Democratic Party, who are completely out of governmental power right now. Maybe the states can help do something, but really the lion's share of the work has to be the citizens, because we're the only ones who have the power to do anything about this. Let's see here. Sherry, it's not just eggs. He said groceries. Damn. Yeah, he's supposed to bring down all the prices. Why hasn't it happened yet? Bobby, Trump, Musk, Bezos, Vance, Schittler, all members of the... I don't know anything about that, Bobby. That sounds conspiracy theory-ish to me. The Ilmoth, good to see you again. Marcusiolo says, hey man, what's up? Good to see you over on Twitch. Ilmoth, why do you think smart people do bad things? Genuine question. I think sometimes smart people have bad intent, and they decide to do bad things because their big old brain has told them to do bad things because they want money and power. Diane Reed says, it's only been 3 fucking weeks. Okay, well, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Are you saying I can't believe that so much has gone wrong in 3 weeks? Or are you saying I can't believe that you guys are complaining and it's only been 3 weeks? Because I have answers to both of those, depending on what the question is. Let's see here. Tommy Two Guns, war for Greenland or war for Panama Canal, you choose. That's really cute, but, we're living in a really serious time right now, so I'm trying not to do bits on here. Let's see here. Megatruth says, where your boyfriend? I believe he's banging your mom right now. Jake Blake, if you were to relocate countries, what are your top picks? I don't care. Anywhere that will take me. I'll fucking learn a language. I don't give a shit. Let's see here. Alex, do you think the impeachment articles filed are going to go anywhere? Probably not, because, again, Republicans are in charge. And they are, Mike, what's his name? Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House, he cannot bring things up for a vote if he doesn't feel like bringing things up for a vote. And so even though impeachment articles were filed, it is up to him to call a vote on that, and he won't even call a vote on that. And if he did, Republicans have a majority, so it's not going to go anywhere. Drewski, do you not like that Doge is discovering all the wasted money by the government? They're not discovering wasted money by the government. Diana Reed says liberals are complaining and Trump's only been in government for 3 weeks. Okay, well, number one, Diana, he's already done a lot of very, very, very bad things. Elon Musk has taken over our financial system in this country, where trillions of dollars move through there. He has plugged in unregulated hard drives into secure servers, so we have no idea what code is on those servers anymore. He could be funneling money to adversarial nations. He could put it all into his own pocket. We have no fucking idea what's going on there. He has also access to all of the citizens of this country's secure, sensitive information. He knows all of our addresses and our social security numbers. Additionally, they are trying to shut down government programs and, what do you call it? And organizations that they do not legally have the ability to do. They are firing people that they don't have the legality to fire. They're removing checks and balances. This is a coup. We are watching a coup happen, and if you don't see it, I suggest you get your news from somewhere else. Ray, when you don't get paid for work and your taxes don't get paid or owe taxes, don't complain. I don't know what you're talking about. Matthew McKee, what do you think about them trying to privatize NOAA? I think it's dumb. I think it's an extremely dumb thing to do. You're trying to put a paywall on people having access to weather information. So poor people who are in the path of a hurricane or a tornado, they can just go fuck themselves, I guess, because they couldn't afford the $5.99 a month for access to weather predicting software. The answer is not privatization. The answer to everything is not privatization. The answer to everything is not the free market. Let's see here. Chris Jacobs, is there any mechanisms in the U.S. to recall the president? If so, how do you think it would happen? I believe the only mechanism is the 25th Amendment, which means that the people in Trump's cabinet would have to vote to say that he is unfit for office, or impeachment. I do not believe that there's any recall vote that we can do for the president. What we do, though, is put political pressure on the people that are currently in office to do things to stop him, and vote for Democrats, people that are willing to impeach him and stand up to him in the 2026 midterm election. You got to make sure that everybody that you know, friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, are prepared to vote in the 2026 midterms. And if they try to do anything to stop us from being able to vote, like canceling the election or some shit like that, then we fucking take to the streets. Because that is not acceptable by any stretch. All right. Let's see here. Alrighty, getting back into the comments here. Simipu, privatization of NOAA and the USPS has to be the most dangerous and damaging idea he has. I mean, that's a tough game. Dangerous ideas that are coming out of the Republican Party. Yeah. Who's to say? What is the worst idea in a giant pile of big, shitty, dangerous idea? Diane Reed says recall or impeachment won't happen in the next 4 years, guarantee. You don't know that, Diane. If Democrats, hypothetical situation, if Democrats completely ran the table and took over the House and the Senate, 100%, no Republicans there at all, then impeachment would 100% happen and Trump would be out of office yesterday. User whole bunch of numbers says, why are you still here? Because I live here. Katie Davis says, it's funny how people with Teslas loved Musk, but now he is the worst billionaire ever. I mean, people that have Tesla also hate Musk because they're shitty cars that break down all the fucking time. Let's see here. User whole bunch of numbers says, then get out. No, you get out. I live here. I was born here. Underneath Salon Skincare says, I've ran into so many Republicans with regrets. Well, they have the power to change things. They can put pressure on their people that are currently in power. So if you meet somebody who voted for Trump or voted Republican who now regrets it, you tell them, you better be on the phone every fucking day to your senators and your House members, telling them to fucking do the right thing and put pressure on the Trump administration. And you got to tell them to vote for Democrats in the midterms, because the midterms are coming up in 2026. Let's see here. Dano says 2026 there will be 0 Dems in Congress. Not if there is a fair and free election, Dano. If there's not a fair and free election, then potentially. Sherry says Trump is going to try and pass a bill saying he can run again. Watch. I'm not really sure the mechanism by which he is going to try to stay in office, but he's 100% going to try to stay in office. Whether that is, martial law and canceling elections, whether that is trying to pass a bill to make it so he can run again, passing a bill making him, president for life. There's a lot of different mechanisms that he could try. I just know he's going to try. I don't know, what the Supreme Court or the Republicans in Congress are going to let him get away with, but he's definitely going to try. Dongo Doko Bera says, did you maggots move out of the country when Biden was in office? Yeah, that's a really good point. But also, let's not call people that voted for Trump and Republicans maggots, we need to start building coalitions with people that voted for Republicans. We also got to find the 85 million people that did not vote in this past election and convince them to vote, particularly the 30 million who are already registered. Pre Malone says, to the people saying get out, where were you living the past 4 years if leaving is right? Yeah, also, why are you suddenly pro-immigration? Like, you think it's okay for me to just pick up and go to another country when people are trying to do that to this country and you're like, no thank you? Let's see here. Jenny Federer over on YouTube says, what would you prioritize learning about to be better informed, U.S. economics or U.S. politics? I would say probably economics. I don't know. Just learn a little bit of both, I say. Marco Siskio says, where are you streaming besides here? TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. Let's see here. All right. Renee Cacereses, 237, says, it's not what Congress is going to let him get away with. It's what we, the people, will allow. Let's use every club in our bag, Renee. Like, there are Republicans in the Senate right now who are convincible, who we can put pressure on. Before we get to the things that first of all, let me tell you, I agree with you. Like, the work is ours to do. But part of that work is putting pressure on our elected representatives to do more to stop Trump and Elon Musk, to do more to stop the far-right extreme wing of the Republican Party. So yeah, you can put pressure on your Republican senators and House members. Like, that's part of the work we have to do. But also protesting and boycotting and, strikes and voting in the midterms. Justin Challey says, why would he stop Elon Musk? Because what Elon Musk is doing is an illegal, unprecedented coup. Ruben says, the must speak from under the heart. I don't know what you're talking about. Designs by Donna says, we need to take this more seriously. We're way past protests and trying to get along. Trying to get along, I disagree with. We should be trying to get along with everybody. And it's definitely not too late to do protest. It is not too late to vote. It is not too late to put pressure on your elected representatives. Alrighty here. Get rid of that comment. Fantastic. Buck Fuweld says, who'd you vote for? Democrats up and down the ballot. Orion Rudis says, why are you complaining about putting pressure on government spending of our money? You need to clean up that question. Doesn't make any sense. Dustin Shalley, Elon is stopping so much waste. Have you seen most of the cuts that he's made? You are spreading propaganda and misinformation. He is not cutting waste at all. He is literally taking over our government. Bucky Forwild says, okay, so you okay with all this waste? Yeah, I'm done with all you bots saying that what Elon is doing is cutting waste, when what he's actually doing is taking over the country. Orion Rudis says, it made total sense. Why are you complaining about auditing government spending? Again, you are a bot who is spreading misinformation. Alrighty. Just me says, people are getting brainwashed. People have been getting brainwashed. You know, let's see here. All right, any questions over there? Fantastic. D-Bar 530 says, how can you not be mad about USAID misspending money? They're not misspending money. There is no evidence that USAID has done anything but help. You know, maybe there's a little bit of, what do you call it? Inefficiency, but there's inefficiency everywhere in the government. Shutting down USAID is going to kill people. And all the things that you want, like you being safe, you sitting there in your house in America, that USAID helps that. Cody, Florida is the best state and needs 50 electoral votes. I hope that's a bit. Daniel Williford, where is your proof that it is not waste? Where is your spelling? Let's see here. Simi Poo, auditing government spending. Kylie, my tax dollars going to other countries when our people need it here. Kylie, I don't think you know what you're talking about, Kylie, because the Republican administration is not stopping money from going to other countries that could have helped people here in America. It is such a tiny amount of our federal budget, the money that is going to help other countries. That's number one. Number two, helping other countries does help us because it stops things like ISIS and it stops things like pandemics. But also, the Republican Party is not going to take that money and give it to American citizens. They're going to put it in their fucking pocket. It's going to go in Elon Musk's pocket and Donald Trump's pocket and Don Jr.'s pocket and Ivanka's pocket. All right, scrolling down the bottom. Taylor, what makes this guy think he knows what he's talking about? Because I do. Kylie says, why was North Carolina ignored? It wasn't. Let's see here. Nadido says, what's up with all of this federal funding to Politico and the app? I do not believe that there is any federal funding going to Politico and the Associated Press. Let's see here. Exploring New Jersey says, bro, can you quote about this? Quote what? Kylie, yes, it was There's still people without homes and help, LMAO. Yeah, Kylie, you literally don't know what you're talking about because you're spreading misinformation, right-wing misinformation about the fact that the Biden administration did not help out North Carolina during the hurricanes, but they literally did everything that the states wanted them to do. If you talk to the Republicans who are in charge of that state, they will tell you that. So you can move your misinformation, Kylie, and if you insist on continuing to spread it, I'm going to have to boot you out of here. David, why does Trump want to get rid of the Board of Education? What power does he get from that? It hurts marginalized communities. It hurts people with disabilities. It hurts people who are poor, and it hurts people who don't speak English as their first language. That's the reason why he wants to do it. He wants to hurt people. He wants people to be desperate. He wants people to just fucking die if they're not a billionaire like him. Let's see here. Tyro Pilar over on YouTube says... Jenny Fitterer says, do you take Venmo donations? That's very sweet, Jenny. You can join my Patreon. I've also got a store on my website. Both of those links are on jaredberenstein.com. Tyro Pillar, hard to believe a billionaire is trying to save money when he doesn't even want to pay taxes with his own money. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to believe because it's also a fucking lie, Tyro. I think you're speaking my language, my man. Taylor, he tells us we don't know what we are talking about, then he says he knows what he's talking about. Yes, because I do know what I'm talking about, and I know misinformation when I see it. D-Bar 530, when they provide evidence of the misspending with USAID, will you accept it? Or will to twist that too? D-Bar 530, I need to be 100% clear about you real quick, all right? The Republican-led government, the Donald Trump and Elon Musk-led government, they are not going to tell us the truth. They are liars. They have a proven history of lying, and so I do not trust anything that comes out of that administration, not even a fucking little bit. There is so much evidence that they are liars to say, like, well, they'll tell us, they'll provide us with the evidence. Total bullshit, man. It's going to be fucking bullshit, I guarantee you. Because there already is a government agency to root out this kind of waste and inefficiency. And they are trying to take that apart. They're only taking apart the things that are taking away their power and stopping poor and marginalized people from getting help. All right? So you can miss me with that shit. All right, scrolling down to the bottom here. Rustcho, not even drill baby drill. Yeah, sure. Goof145 says, what is that agency? USAID? Let's see here. Stephanie73 says, Democrats are liars and corrupt crybabies. That is not a question. Get First said, I heard you said was investigating Musk, so Musk shut it down. Have you heard that? Yes, I remember hearing something about that. I forget exactly. There was like he has a bone to pick against USAID because they investigated him or they caused him to pay some fine or something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I do remember hearing that as well. Reptilian Empress, Democrats with rats emphasized. Congratulations, you're also blocked. Let's see here. This guy says Trump is your god. That is also a block. I don't care if you have different opinions than me, but be part of the conversation. Ask a question. Robert Perez says, Destiny? No, I'm much better looking and less annoying. Jake McCurdy, hundreds of millions for condoms in Palestine. That is fake news. Jake McCurdy, you have fallen for Republican misinformation. I'm sorry you fell for it. I'm sorry you got conned. Unless you're one of the people spreading the misinformation on purpose. Are you, or are you one of the people that got tricked, that got conned? Chris Jacobs over on YouTube says, love how many people are saying the U.S. shouldn't be giving foreign aid, but whenever someone says, fine, let's spend it on health, education, housing, and the homeless, they get upset about that too. Completely agree with you, Chris Jacobs. We are speaking the same language. DT Skit Town Girl says, will they means test Social Security? I don't know what you're talking about. Like Social Security, sorry DT, I imagine that's probably a good faith question, but Social Security is a program that already exists. We don't need to means test it. We know that it is working and that it has worked. So if they say they're going to mean test it, what that is code for is they're going to start shutting it down, they're going to start defunding it, etc. Let's see here. Limit benefits based on income. Limit benefits based on income. I mean, I don't see that happening anytime soon. You know, they have absolutely zero interest in making it so that rich people don't get more money. So they are 100% not going to restrict Social Security for people that have a lot of money. The one who knows, after the eating people pets, I can't see how people can trust anything this administration says. Completely agree with that. Whatever. Who knew it was this easy to just coup the government? I don't know easy specifically, but it's shameless. You know, like all you needed was enough people to not want to stand up to stop them. And that's what the Republican Party is. The Republican Party is in league with Elon Musk and Donald Trump and the billionaire class. They don't care. They could stop this if they wanted to stop it, but they don't care to stop it, so they're not going to. It's not about it's easy. It's about they got voted in, and now they are doing all the shitty things that they said they were going to do. Alyssa Peppers says, why is Elon Musk allowed to decide if he has a conflict of interest for himself? Because the only people that would check him are Republicans, and they don't care. Again, I said all of this before the election, y'all, and I said don't vote for Republicans because this shit's going to happen, and then nobody listened to me, so there you go. Lance Mullen says, Trump is doing great work. No, he is not, and that is not a question. So you are out of here. Let's see here. Somebody asked, what is the... Close says, what is the point of Doge? They say that they are trying to eliminate government waste, but what they're actually doing is eliminating programs that stop them from having as much money and power as they have. They want to stop programs that help the poor and the marginalized. They want to stop oversight, and they want to stop any sort of checks and balances. That is what Doge is really actually doing. It is a massive theft of American taxpayer dollars directly into the pockets of the billionaire class, specifically Elon Musk. It is a coup. They're literally taking over the government. Let's see here. All right. Bryce's Modern Life says, oh, this isn't biased at all. You're right. It is not biased. User a whole bunch of numbers says, why are you talking about politics? Because I know a lot about it. And I think it's important to inform people about that. Let's see here. Apple user, a whole bunch of numbers, says, how is $1 million a day being spent on sushi by the Pentagon? I do not believe that it is being spent on sushi by the Pentagon. Let's see here. Alrighty. Zumble Z says they are taking the data of Americans. That is accurate. Kylie, just going to ignore the truth I'm saying. No, I get a lot of comments, Kylie, and so I miss them, especially when they are lies like you put out there. Planner Girl with the T, do you think we will get out of this mess? Yes, if people do the work. We have to do the work. We, the citizens. The courts are not going to save us. Republicans are not going to save us. The Democrats, they want to save us, but they don't have enough political power to save us. So it is up to us. Private industry is not going to save us. All the other billionaires and CEOs are already bending the knee and kissing the ring to Donald Trump. Other countries can't save us. They don't have the power and the finances that Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin have. So it literally we have to use our numbers. We have to use the fact that there are 300 million of us here in this country to wrest control back from Elon Musk, from Donald Trump, and from the billionaire CEO class, and the Republican Party that is in league with them. Alrighty, let's see here. Going back into Zumble Z8 says, who is protesting at their state capitals today? I hope everybody. Gabriel says, guys, just because you don't agree with him doesn't mean he's wrong. If you don't like it, leave. I don't care if you disagree with me, but ask a question, be part of the conversation, and don't just spread misinformation or call me a cuck. Ricardo Motorrido says, how long are you gonna perseverate over this? I don't know. How long are you going to perseverate over your fucking word a day calendar? Mizan, our gas prices higher right now because of tariffs. I do not know that gas prices have ticked up substantially yet. I would believe it. But as far as I know, there was a pause on the potential trade war between Mexico and Canada and the United States. I do not believe that we get fuel from China, which is where the tariffs are still sticking right now. But I could be wrong about that. I know that economists have said that we can expect a 50-cent increase in tax per gallon if the proposed Trump tariffs for Canada and Mexico are, agreed upon. Let's see here. Malik, China always has tariffs, so mean to China. Yeah, but also China is doing illegal things. So Russ K65 says, we voted for this. What did you vote for? Ross, are you one of the people that voted for this, or are you, what are you saying? Are you saying that we the people voted for our country to be destroyed and cooed, or are you saying that you voted for the country to be looted and cooed? 3Nader says there is no fixing any economy. Yeah, you can. You can fix the economy. Anything that's broken can be fixed. Jameo, what can we do specifically to combat this coup? All right. Here's the work. You ready? You got to put political pressure on your elected representatives, especially if your elected representatives are Republicans. You need to talk to everybody that you know, friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, etc., and make sure that they are prepared to vote in the midterms 2026. Make sure that they know what is going on. Make sure they're not getting their news off of only right-wing sources like Fox News and Breitbart and shit like that. Make sure that people that only get their news off social media recognize that they are not getting accurate news and realize that they are getting tailored narratives that are being engineered by the billionaire class and CEOs in order to get them to vote a specific way and think certain things about the news that is going on. And work with great groups like Indivisible, Run for Something, Vote Save America, follow the progressives that are doing the work and assist them in any way that we can. D-Bar 530, should our government have spent $70K for a DEI musical? They didn't. Mizan, does it actually work to do that? Yes, it does. The reason why the Trump administration wasn't this bad in the first term, there were a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is that people were putting this pressure on people. Like the reason why we still have the Affordable Care Act is because people were on the phones and were at the offices of their elected representatives and said, do not repeal the Affordable Care Act. And that vote, we won that vote by a hair, by a fucking, by this tiniest fucking margin. And that is the work that we did. The Trump administration was also, buffeted by the threat of more political pressure. They saw what we were able to do. The fact that we flooded airports and protested when they tried to do the Muslim ban, like it definitely changed things. It didn't do everything that we wanted it to do, but it definitely makes things better as opposed to worse. Because if we give up, then they win, and they can just do whatever the fuck they want. Kylie, my comment isn't showing up about the troops on the border to help stop drugs. How's that bad? I don't know why your comment wasn't showing up, but sometimes if you put offensive things in the comments, then it will automatically get filtered. So, yeah, I don't know what you're trying to say about it, but I know that it's bullshit, Kylie, because all you've said is Republican misinformation. So, I guess I don't really miss that comment because I know it's just going to be another lie that I have to debunk. Caden, thoughts on Biden lying about the Keystone Pipeline? I do not believe that is an accurate thing that you just said. Hannah Nicholson, do you realistically think that Obergefell could be overturned? 100%. Look at what's going on right now, Hannah, in the government. Elon Musk is plugging unregulated hard drives into government servers, stealing all of our data, putting code on there that we don't know fucking what it's going to do. We're going to have to, when we switch over to a new administration, we're going to have to rewrite the Treasury's entire code because we don't know what's hidden in there anymore, what malware has been installed in there right now. And so if you think that is beyond the pale, getting rid of Obergefell, like that's small potatoes, my man. Alrighty, let's see here. John Krause, my good buddy over on Instagram. It's pretty easy to criticize from the sidelines. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and run for president? Thank you, my friend John. What a useful comment. You're really contributing to the dialogue here. This guy is getting blocked. Cool. Jay-Z, see you later. Alrighty. All right, scrolling down to the bottom. Ross K65 says, and all you have done is regurgitate Reddit comments and CNN headlines. I don't read CNN, so I don't know what you're talking about. Also, I'm just saying the things that I'm seeing with my own fucking eyes. Sherry, people are hilarious. They sure are. Dr. Business, haven't heard about the hard drive thing. How do you know that's what's going on? Just read the news, Dr. Business. It has been reported in multiple outlets. Legacy media, independent media, foreign media, progressive media, everybody except for right-wing media has reported on this. Blue Star, what are some good news feeds to follow that spread truth and are unbiased? I'm not really sure. That's not how I get my news. So I would just recommend not using social media to get your news. Stacy, do you agree there are no checks and balances left? There aren't none, but there are fewer and fewer and fewer every single day. So that's why we need to act now. Tyro Pillar says, you got my vote, Jared. I appreciate that, Tyro. All right, that's one vote for president. Fantastic. Willow Mint Prop says, have you seen the change of the flags on the government sites? What is the meaning of that? I have not seen that. Voila says, where do you get your news? I get my news from a bunch of different sources: Legacy Media, Progressive Media, Foreign Media, The Guardian UK, BBC, Associated Press. Let's see here. I get a little bit from the New York Times, a little bit from the Atlantic. I listen to progressive media like Crooked and MSNBC. Let's see here. Where else? I like the Reddit news feed because that's a really nice mix of politics and also some entertainment news and shit like that. Mizan, do you think there's a real chance the Department of Education will really be revoked? Absolutely. Yolbers says, two-state solution or just Israel? Two-state solution. Sherry, they get their news from Fox News. Some of them do, yeah. Sempra Supra says, I just Googled the thing about the flags. That is disinformation. Thank you, Sempra. I thought that it might be. Josh Clemens says, why isn't Elon being arrested? Well, the people that are in charge of the government right now are in league with Elon Musk. The right-wing Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, Donald Trump and his whole cadre, they want Elon Musk to be doing what he is doing because they want chaos. They want poor people to get hurt. They want marginalized people to get hurt. They want to control all the information. They want to control the whole government. They want to control all the money. And that is currently what they are in the process of doing. That is why they're not stopping him. Angelina, concerned about my mom losing her Social Security? I think you 100% should be concerned about that. Sempra Supra, arrested for what exactly? What he has done is illegal. Whether it is enforceably illegal because, we do not have access to the resources that Republicans do right now is anybody's question. But it is 100% illegal to storm into a government building when you have not passed security clearances and plugging a hard drive we have no idea where it fucking came from and what is on there into secure government servers. Like, all of that is illegal. And also the firings are illegal as well. The the fucking inspector generals that Trump fired, they are literally put there to make sure that shit like this doesn't happen. And he fired them, that is illegal. It is illegal to do that. Bryce Brick says, if Democrats raid the White House, would they get pardoned and called heroes? Not by the Trump administration, that's for fucking sure. If you're talking about raided like on January 6th, then no, because Democrats don't pardon violent insurrectionists. Emily, you want to reward H group with a state. No, I don't want to reward Hamas, but I want the people of Palestine to be able to stay in their fucking houses. Hamas has been doing war crimes against the people of Israel, but Israel has been doing war crimes against the people of Palestine. So I'm not going to go to bat for the right-wing Israeli government. I'm also not going to go bat for Hamas, but I will say that the people of Palestine deserve peace and safety and security, and the people of Israel deserve peace and safety and security. Brixton Bixby says, how do you explain Israel's influence on American politics since the Clinton administration? Probably just money. I think money, and also the threat of being called anti-Semitic, I think, is probably a big, a big weapon that organizations like AIPAC wield in order to hurt left-leaning politicians and politics. Chris Jacobs, given this is Trump's second term, assuming he doesn't run again, why should he care if people support his positions? It is not his desire to leave office. He doesn't give a shit about the rules saying that he can't stay in office past these 4 years. Jameo says, why can't anyone else arrest them? Because, again, the people that are in charge of that are all Republicans. They are all in league with what Elon Musk is doing. They don't want to arrest him. They could arrest him. They don't want to arrest him. Brianna says, have you seen the 9-star flag on government websites? That has been debunked. Mr. Platham said, you just said Democrats don't let out criminals, insurrectionists. They did it the whole time. No, they didn't. Kelly Menji, do you think a genocide is in the near future, considering people being sent to Guantanamo Bay? I mean, I do. I don't know if it's going to be like an American genocide, like we're going to send people to Guantanamo and start executing them. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that's facilitating genocides by adversarial nations is probably going to happen. Let's see here. Seb, opinions on the statements that Trump said on Palestine. It is exactly what I fucking said was going to happen. To everybody who said that they didn't vote for Democrats or voted Republican because of the Biden administration's stance towards Palestine, and I said, yeah, but Trump will be worse. This is exactly what I was fucking talking about, guys. He is calling for the ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip and for America to take it over and start building real estate on there. Like, is that better? Is that better, guys? Right, Brenda D says, why is Trump not in jail? Because he won the election. Because a lot of people got conned into either voting for him or not voting at all. Victor DeJesus says, please, do you see Trump deporting kids born here by undocumented parents? Do you see Trump deporting kids born here by undocumented parents? I don't know what you're getting at, Victor DeJesus. So here's the thing. ICE is already rounding up people who are citizens, who are veterans, and who are Native Americans. So I don't put anything past an unregulated rogue agency being led by an unregulated rogue presidency. I don't put anything past them. Claire Bear says, Kamala or Trump? Kamala. Stacy says, anchor babies. Anchor babies? You mean like Barron Trump? Ryan Den says, how do we work to unify our party so we are more focused on Trump Republicans and not infighting? Be the change, Ryan. Be the change. If you see somebody, taking pot shots at Democrats, redirect. You'd be like, I understand that we're all upset about what Democrats did or did not do, but you got to recognize that they get yelled at no matter what they do because they are a big tent party. So they got people on the left and they got people on the center left. They're all yelling at everybody. And the focus has to be on the worst. The worst. The focus has to be on the worst part of it. Just the Republican Party. Victor DeJesus, yes, but kids born here are citizens by birth, so I'm worried he'll find a way to deport them. Yeah, Victor DeJesus, I am with you, and you are right to worry about that. You are 100% right to be worried about that, because things being illegal is not going to stop them. Birthright citizenship being constitutional is not going to stop them. Finger pointing says, what's your opinion on John Kerry? I think it's okay. I'm happy that he negotiated the Iran nuclear deal. That was a really good piece of legislation that Trump threw in the garbage for no fucking reason. Let's see here. Jane Corbo says, should all European countries be multicultural? I guess all countries should be multicultural. Like, people should be able to live wherever they want, I guess. Let's see here. Brenda D, what can I do as a single disabled 60-year-old woman? We can all only do what we can do, Brenda D. So I'm not going to tell you as a 60-year-old disabled woman that you got to go march on the Capitol or shit like that. But if you can make phone calls, if you can help out organizations like Indivisible or Run for Something or Vote Save America, if you can talk to the people that you know and make sure that they're registered to vote, make sure that they're planning on voting for Democrats, make sure that they know that they have work to do, that we all have work to do, that the job of saving the country now belongs to all 300 million of us. That is what we need to do, Brenda D. If you can do the kind of financial support where, organizations can, get your $2 and mix it together with everybody else's $2 and they can afford office space in that way, like, that's great too. But here's the other thing is that we can't match the Republican Party dollar for dollar. Like, we have to do the work. We all have to do the work individually, because there is no amount of money that we can raise for the Democratic Party that is going to match the amount of money the Republican Party has through people like Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. Like, they outmatch us so far and so thoroughly that we can't beat them that way. They are in full and complete control of our social media apparatuses. So making a video that gets 10 million views is not going to do shit when Vladimir Putin can pay 100,000, trolls and bots to spread whatever misinformation, disinformation that they want to. So yeah, this shit has to be done by us. That's the only thing. That's the only thing, It's a bummer. John over on Instagram says, I get all my news from this live stream. Is that okay, or should I diversify? No, you are getting the only news that you need, John. You're getting right here. Carlo Perez says, did you see the approval rate Trump posted? I don't really pay attention to Trump because he's a liar and he's an idiot. And so I'm sure that whatever he posted was complete and utter bullshit. Heartbeat, only reason you're against deportation is because your party is gone. That is not why I'm against deportations. Shelby, how was the U.S. flag on government sites debunked? Somebody said that on government sites they've replaced the American flag with a different flag. I haven't looked into this. Just somebody has debunked this in the chat, somebody that I trust. And so I think that people are bringing it up because it's misinformation. Let's see here. Nutmegan Games says, how many of these wild bills will we see pop up could pass? Some are horrifying. Well, Nutmegan Games, I'm not in the business of trying to predict the shitty things that Republicans will do. Here's the thing. We know that Republicans want to pass those bills. We know that Republicans in the Supreme Court want to assist in passing those bills and allowing this shit to happen. So will it happen? I don't know. That has to do with if there are Republicans with backbone, if anybody, on the Supreme Court decides they want to stand up to Trump, if we are able to put enough political pressure on the people in office to change their minds about shit. So I can't predict that that's going to happen. I can only tell you how to stop it from happening. And that is, we do the work. We put political pressure on our elected officials. We convince people to vote for Democrats. We win the midterm elections. We do our protesting and our striking and our organizing and our boycotting. Like, we have to do the work. Again, I can't say that enough, guys. Get that tattooed on your noodles. Brenda D, I'm so disappointed that my party hasn't been prepping a viable candidate for years now. I'm not upset about that at all, Brenda D. I am done taking pot shots at the Democratic Party when they are the best resources that we have to take down the Republican Party. And as much out of power they are, they still have the infrastructure to win those elections if we do the work to help them. Because again, they do not have the money and the resources and the power to take on the Republican Party. It is not about them not having viable candidates. It is not about them being bad at messaging. It is about them playing a game that has been rigged against them. And I have spoken at length about this. I can go through my entire 10 points about why government is not fair to Democrats. I'm sure people who've been on the stream a long time are tired of hearing that spiel, but I'm happy to get into it, Brenda, if you like. Whatever. The bill to get rid of OSHA is nuts. Completely agree with that. Tell all the union people that refuse to support the Democratic candidates that that's what they voted for. Let's see here. Jameo says, are they trying to fully subjugate and criminalize women, in your opinion? Yes. I don't know what the timeline is for that, Jameo, but that is what they want. All these fucking, ding-dong, red-pilled, loser bros who are talking about having a traditional wife and, more traditional family structure, blah, blah, blah. That's what that code is for, is women not being able to have jobs and credit cards and shit like that. Larry Mueller says all they have to do is get back to 1998 and stop all the extreme radical craziness. I don't know what you're talking about, Larry. Okay, Emily, please speak about the deportations that happened under Biden and under Obama. Sure thing, Emily. There were deportations that happened under Biden and Obama. A lot of that was people that had committed crimes. A lot of that was people that were more recent, illegals that had come to this country. And it was done in a way that was in line with our laws and with our relations with the countries that we were trying to deport those people to. At no point did we do anything that was just draconian and cruel and incompetent as a means of trying to convince people not to come to this country, which is the opposite of what the Trump administration is doing. The Trump administration separated children from their parents, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, but because they wanted to show immigrants that if you come here, we will steal your children and we will rip them from your arms while you are both crying your fucking heads off. We will put those kids in a detention facility that is not big enough for all the kids that we are putting in there. We're going to feed them slop, then we're going to deport their parents and then lose them so that now these children with fucking PTSD, with no fucking family, with nowhere to go here in this country, in addition, they are orphans now. And now we don't know where their parents are, even so we couldn't connect them with their parents if they wanted to. The Biden administration did an excellent job of putting together a task force to try to reunite children with their lost parents, and they were able to do so for many of them, but there are still 1,000+ children who we don't know where their parents are. Children with PTSD who have been orphaned by the Trump administration. There's over 1,000 of them here in this country right now. And since Trump got into office, he disbanded the Biden group that was tasked with trying to reunite those children with their parents. So there you go. There's the rundown on deportations by Obama, Trump, and Biden. Let's see here. Stayfly94. Does mass deportation affect the GDP in the U.S.? It probably will, because we will not be able to staff our agencies. There's a staffing shortage going on right now, and a lot of these jobs Americans don't want to do. Let's see here. Heart B says, this dude is flipping everything. He's lost. I don't know what you're talking about, Heart B. Let's see here. Jeremy Vera says, why lie? I'm not lying. Who are you talking to? Jameo says, block Heart B. Why is Heart B being a jerk? Lovely Renee, good to see you as well. Lovely Renee, thank you for being here. Jeremy Vera says, you're lying. No, I'm not. Wayne Miller 140 says, really, where are the kids that were lost under Biden? That is Republican misinformation, has been debunked many, many times. Larry Mueller says, defund the police. I think that we need police reform, 100%. The Sardana says, you lie. No, I don't. Italiana74 says, you're my news source and updates. Thank you. I appreciate that, Italiana, but you should really diversify, The only person who's getting exactly the news that they need is my friend John, who is watching this on Instagram right now. Let's see here. Somebody says, remember, Kamala encouraged riots, said she would bail out the rioters. No, she didn't. Let's see here. I haven't seen Heart B posting anything, except for he wants me to block him. So there you go. Mike, why did Biden discontinue DNA testing for adults coming across the border with children? I don't know that actually happened. That sounds like Republican misinformation to me, if I'm being honest. Ramos Word, how likely will Trump relocate millions out of Gaza? I don't know how likely it is, but the fact of the matter is that he is in league with the extreme far right wing Netanyahu government of Israel and the extreme far right Netanyahu government of Israel wants to ethnically cleanse all of Palestine so that that can just become Israel. They can just be all Israel there. So, will it be what Trump is talking about? And, there's no Gazans there anymore, and he gets to build fucking, Trump Tower in Gaza and the West Bank and shit like that? I don't know. But it is going to be worse for the people of Palestine. I know that. Let's see here. FU Original says Emily is giving off cult vibes with the freaking amount of messages she's firing off. Let people enjoy my live, FU Originals. Don't yuck someone else's yum. The comments are the thing that make this live stream move. So, let's not throw stones here. Emily's just enjoying the live. Get off her fucking back, man. JC Sabori says, can you talk about tariffs? Sure. Tariffs, the way that Trump is trying to do them, are stupid, and they are going to hurt America and Americans. Stayfly94, is it possible to have a currency backed by gold again? That is over my head, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Starfly. Stephen James, will money ever be out of politics? Yes, if we vote for politicians who are going to get money out of politics. It is up to us, and I cannot emphasize this enough, that we are the ones who are in charge of that. The government doesn't do shit without our say-so. Everybody that's in power right now is there because we, the people, voted for them. So if you want to get the money out of politics, vote for politicians who are going to get the money out of politics. And here's the thing, guys. Republicans don't give a shit about getting the money out of politics because they have access to all the money. So if you look at the legislation that Democrats have tried to pass and Republicans have stopped, and if you look at the lawsuits that Republicans have brought to the Supreme Court and have won because the Supreme Court is fully enveloped with the Republican Party right now, it is all things that put more money into government. That is what the Republican Party wants. Ted Cruz had a case at the Supreme Court that made it legal for him to lend himself money for his campaign, and then if he wins, people, fucking random ass billionaires or whatever, can pay him back the money that he lent himself. The Supreme Court, the right-wing Supreme Court, passed a law. They didn't pass a law. They passed a judgment that said that a bribe is not a bribe if you give it to somebody after they do the nice thing for you. If you give somebody money before they do a nice thing for you, that's a bribe. But if you give it to them afterwards, that's just a tip. That's just a nice gift that you're giving to them. The Democratic Party has put legislation forward to try to limit the influence of money in government, and Republicans have blocked it, have filibustered it, have not voted for it, etc. Let's see here. Scrolling down to the bottom, Jameo says, do you think Elon ever cared about climate change, or was that a facade? I don't know. I think there's I don't really care to dig into the weak and feeble psyches of people like Musk and Trump. They're weird, crazy people who have lost their fucking minds. They've all got brainworms. Was it because they weren't hugged enough as kids? Was it because there's something, they got like an evil gene that gets turned on when they reach a certain age? I got no fucking idea. Larry Mueller says the Democrats' movement to take away parents' rights is over. I don't know what you're doing here, Larry, but that is nonsense, and so you're out of here. The Sardana says, how often do you file your compensation with the FEC? I don't file compensation with the FEC because I am not what do you call it? I don't do any campaigning. I volunteer, I canvass, but I am not like a political actor whatsoever. And I don't have money coming in and out that is worth, does the FEC really need to find out about my tens of dollars? Only living boy in Kentucky, good to see you again. None of what has happened gives me confidence that the midterms will go fairly. What do you think? So here's what I think about that. Number one is we can't give up hope, because that's what they want. They want us to assume that the elections are not going to be fair and just not vote because of that. So we have to live under the assumption that the right to vote is precious and sacred and undeniable. And so if they try to take that away from us, then people will fucking lose their minds. That is what we need to talk about voting and about wanting to vote and about expecting to vote in a way that if they even think about taking it away, they're going to get scared. The same way that in France, there are certain things they don't try to do because they're like, and then they're striking again. There they go, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we need to not start talking about how the elections are going to be rigged 100%. It's not going to be fair, blah, blah, blah. And here's the other thing is that we need to turn out in such numbers that even if they do try to do like little tricky things like closing down polling locations or messing with voting computers or passing voter ID laws in all 50 states and then making it really hard for people to get IDs if they live in Democratic districts, which is just a thing that they've definitely 100% done already, our numbers should be able to outmatch that. Because again, there are 85 million people in this country who could have voted in 2024 and didn't. And that is a majority that could completely transform this country. Spider-Man 824, what would it take for Trump's base to turn on him? They're cheering while he's destroying the United States. It's difficult, it is difficult to reprogram people who are in a cult, especially if they are still plugged into their IV of misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda. So yeah, it's difficult. It is very difficult. I thought that this was all going to be over in 2020 when Trump allowed the pandemic to fucking sweep through this country and told every state, like, just, fend for yourself. And then also started talking about how it's not a real thing and, blah, blah, blah. I thought that should have been enough to wake people up, but it fucking didn't. Propaganda is a hell of a drug, man. Dan says, did the right-wing Supreme Court help Trump win? They 100% did help Trump win because they put roadblocks up for his indictments to go through the court system unabated. Like there were cases that were scheduled to be heard before the election, and then America would have heard the verdict of those cases potentially had the Supreme Court not stepped in and slowed things down, or the immunity ruling that put a gear in the wrench, a wrench in the gears, as the expression goes. So yeah, they 100% helped Trump win without question. Michael Borowick says, what do you think about military leaders swearing loyalty to Trump and not their oaths of office? I think that is exactly what Project 2025 said was going to happen, and it's what I said was going to happen, and it's terrifying, and we should all be really worried about that. And we should all be calling our representatives and telling them how worried we are about that, and they should fucking do something about it. Max N. Creek says, huge oil reserves off the coast of Gaza could pay for their rebuild. Okay, but we shouldn't, because also climate change, and also that's not ours. Bea says Supreme Court is Trump's court. I mean, that is accurate, but it's not a good thing. It's not good news, Bea. Squire Shebob says they have already taken away our vote by only giving us 2 bad choices. That's a bad take, Squire Shebob. They don't give us 2 bad choices. We vote for people in the primary. And yes, I know Kamala was an exception, so we're going to skip over that because I don't really want to fucking do that spiel about how that talking point is dumb. But yeah, we vote for the people that run in the primaries. Nobody gives us bad choices. We vote for those people. And if you don't get the person that you wanted out of the primary in the general election, you need to not be a fucking child about that. I wanted Katie Porter to win the primary for the Senate in California, but she didn't. And so I voted for Adam Schiff. I wasn't so fucking butthurt about it. Like, he's a fucking, centrist, shill, corporate-owned lobby, blah, blah, blah. He's still a Democrat. He's still good. All right? He still does good work, just because it wasn't exactly 100% what I wanted. Kingston, what do you think will happen if cartel kill border patrol? That is a weird hypothetical that I'm not going to dig into. All right, Chris Japings, do you think Bernie Sanders would ever stand a chance if the DNC let him run? I definitely think Bernie Sanders had a chance. The DNC did put their finger on the scales to try to hurt the Sanders campaign. But if you look at the timeline and if you look at the vote count, I'm not convinced that the DNC really made that big of a difference, because Clinton and Biden won those elections by such massive margins. I don't think that what the DNC did moved the needle even a little bit. So yeah, I think that is people voting more conservatively than you or I would. And also people doing like game theory, like thinking like, oh, I like Bernie better, but I don't think that he can win against Trump. Shit like that. Tian Crumpet says, how can we highlight the good work of Democrats that benefit all American citizens while also rooting out bad actors? I feel like the messaging is off and needs to be fixed to reach more people. I mean, I think that's the move. I think just what you talked about, Tea and Crumpets, like talk to everybody that you know. Friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, etc. Correct all these narratives. And it has to do with people saying like these offhanded comments that everybody should be agreeing with, like, both parties are the same and every politician is corrupt, and just stopping that right there and just being like, no, bad. Like when you hit a cat with a spray bottle, we gotta start correcting those narratives here, because the data is incontrovertible that Democrats are better for the country, for people, than Republicans are. Democratic politicians are better, their platform is better, Republican platform is worse, Republican politicians are worse. That is just the end of the story there. Alrighty. Jenny Federer says, can you talk about putting political pressure on our representatives? As someone who has never called them, but is curious, it feels like my call won't have any effect. I completely agree with that, Jenny. It is weird thing to try to do for the first time. And a lot of times, you're going to get a voicemail, or the voicemail box will be full or something. There is a group called Indivisible that has literally published a handbook for how to do this. And the thing is, it doesn't really take that many people. If you can grab like 5 to 10 friends and just be like, all right, we're going to make these phone calls and we're all going to leave these messages on here. And you can even give yourself a group. We can give for your political action group. You can say, we are we are the, what's a fun one? We are the Thanos, we are the Thanos stones, and we do not care for what is going on in the government right now. You all make your phone calls together, and when you are a political action group, then suddenly you have access to a lot more vote share and the ability to spread messaging, and politicians tend to listen to that a lot more, especially if you bug them a whole lot. Now, if you have a problem with like getting through, like maybe your senator is a Republican who's turned off their phone because they don't want you to yell at them for doing all the shitty things that they're doing, then you go to their fucking office, and you sit outside their office. And you insist on being heard. If not by them, by somebody who fucking works for them. And then go back again. Not everybody has time to do this shit. So that is why you form groups with people and you're like, all right, you do today, I'll do tomorrow. Or I'm with you guys this month, but I can't do anything. So I'll just, I'll do the filing, or I'll give you guys $5 or whatever, like working together, doing this as a group. And also, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, you don't have to start your own group. Indivisible has the 411 on the people that are already doing this. You can just join them if that is something that you're interested in. Alrighty. It's the Rocketeer over on Twitch. Good to see you again. Alright. That is not a great topic. Of everybody should make sure they're working with their local governments and communities. Completely agree with that. Alrighty, let's see here. Lovely Renee says email too. Email, I hear it's a little easy for staffers to delete emails, and so I think that we should be a little bit more in their face about things. Donisipate says, do you think the two-party system is still working? I don't know if the criticisms that we throw at the two-party system are justified, because there are a lot of problems with our electoral system, but I don't know if it's because our two parties are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, or that we only have two options available to us. The American people don't do great with more options. They only have two options right now, and they're wrong, and they vote incorrectly, like, more than half the time. So I don't know how more options is going to help that. A lot of the problems that people talk about that they ascribe to the two-party system, I think is a problem that is caused by something else. And so, do I think it would be better if we had an electoral system that could be more diverse and had, a variety of different parties and wasn't winner take all, and there was ranked choice voting instead of just, what we have now, and we got rid of electoral college and shit like that. Like, sure, that would be better. But the problem that we have right now is not that. The problem that we have is people voting for Republicans instead of people voting for worse instead of for better, or not voting at all. Like, that is the bigger problem than getting another option in there, because the problem with that is, the only party that's going to hurt is the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is more fractured by definition. It is a party made up of a whole bunch of little parties. It is a rainbow coalition, and it is difficult to coalesce and organize the Democratic Party around like specific messaging and making sure that everybody's together on certain policies and blah, blah, blah. And it's really easy for bad actors to cause infighting. Like, there are people on this platform who have said that they're like liberals or progressives or whatever, and who say things specifically to make sure that the Democratic Party is constantly fighting amongst themselves, as opposed to being focused on fighting the Republican Party. I don't know if the two-party system, if all the problems that people ascribe to the two-party system are actually the fault of the two-party system. Let's see here. Douglas, God, I could listen to you all day. I appreciate that, Douglas. Bill Rust, very obviously what option to pick. Yeah, no, you're out of here, buddy. Sorry, that is nonsense. Let's see here. Stenolson58 says ranking vote system. Yeah, there's a different type of voting system called ranked choice voting, where you don't just vote for the one candidate that you want. You can kind of rank them in order of how much you like them. And people have talked about this as a way to fix the spoiler candidate effect of other political parties, where if you have a Green Party candidate and a Democrat and a Republican, but the Green Party and the Democrats are both splitting the left vote, then the Republicans will win every single election. If you have ranked choice voting, then you can vote for the person that you want without worrying that they're not going to be able to win the general election and shit like that. But again, ranked choice voting is also not a cure-all, because we had ranked choice voting for the mayoral primary in New York, and we still elected Eric Adams, and he fucking sucks. Diego Vargas says, you think Democrats would have won if they would have passed the Build Back Better Act? No, I don't. Because they essentially did pass the Build Back Better Act. That was what the Inflation Reduction Act turned into. And so, yeah, it wasn't exactly that, but they still did an incredible amount of work for the American people during Biden's term. There is a term called deliverism, where it's like, it doesn't matter about the messaging, it doesn't matter about the politicking, but if you deliver for people, if you do good things for them, they will reward you with their votes. What we have discovered after the Biden administration is that deliverism doesn't work, because you need the mechanisms of getting that information out there so that people can recognize the good things that the government is doing for them. What we've discovered in this last election is that misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda is more powerful than we thought it was. And that the adjustments that we made after 2016 to try to account for that stuff are not enough. Let's see here. W, as a Trump supporter, I'm a little worried about taking Panama. Are they trade partners with China? Listen, it kind of feels like a bit what you're doing, W. So instead of answering that question, I want to ask you, why are you a Trump supporter? Are you still a Trump supporter? Country United Together says, are we all loyal Trumpers up in here? No, we are not. Dump Trump says, you should be worried about Trump trying to take over any other country. He's not a dictator. He wants to be a dictator. Yes, he does want to be a dictator, Dump Trump. That is accurate. Let's see here. All right, we are at about an hour and 10. So I'm going to start wrapping up. I'm going to do my outro, and then I'm going to do some final questions, but stick around during the outro because I always do final questions at the end. Let's see here. W says, hey man, I just want you to educate me on this. Well, tell me why you are a Trump supporter, and if you still are a Trump supporter. Ryan H, do you think the Laken Riley Act was good? I don't think that the Laken Riley Act was good. There's a lot of really shitty things in there that are removing people's civil rights. Manu Kinderka says, might be referring to Brazil's trade deal with China. He might be, but I have no fucking idea because he's not responding to my question. W. So here's my outro. I'm waiting for W's response. And again, stick around because there's always final questions after the outro. I want to thank everybody for being here. We had some really great numbers today on the live. Thank you for watching, for leaving comments, for sending gifts, for liking, for sharing. All of that stuff helps me out a ton. I appreciate any support that you can give me, whether it is the free kind, like likes and shares and, telling your friends how great my live streams are and that they should check me out. But also if you can do the paid kind of financial support, I have a Patreon on my website, jarrettberenson.com. I have a store on my website, jarrettberenson.com. You can also send gifts on TikTok and Twitch and probably other platforms that I don't know how to do that, though. But again, we are suffering through a cost of living crisis, so I'm not going to insist that anybody send me money if they can't. If you have a question that I was not able to get to, my DMs are open, and also you can email me through my website. It's a little bit better to go through my website because I no longer have TikTok on my phone because the App Store is not letting me download it again after I switched phones. So I'm a little bit slower on the jump on responding to DMs as opposed to send the emails. But my normal streaming schedule is usually Tuesday through Friday, starting at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I often start early because I really like doing these, and I often augment with a Monday as well because, again, I really like doing these. And just my heartfelt and sincere plea for you to not be despondent, for you to not be cynical, and to do the work. Do the work, because again, this is up to us. And it is not just up to us to do the work, it's up to us to convince other people to do the work as well. Because if we all get together and we all do this shit, then we will fix this country. We will be impossible to stop if we all connected under this shared goal. So yeah, get people to vote. Get people to vote in the midterms. Get people to vote in the primaries. Get people to vote in the special elections. Make sure that everybody that you know, friends, family, co-workers, everybody is registered to vote. Find the people in your life who did not vote and convince them to vote. Find the people who didn't vote or voted for Republicans and convince them to vote for Democrats. Make sure that people are getting the actual news. If you see somebody who's only hooked up to the IV drip of right-wing misinformation, get that IV out of their arm and correct them of their false notions. Let's see here. Yeah, work with great groups like Indivisible and Run for Something and Vote Save America. You don't have to start your own group. You can do work with other groups. And sometimes that work is just filing. Sometimes you work an entire weekend or an entire month or whatever, and you don't see the results of your work. But that work does make a difference. I guarantee it. Put political pressure on the people that are already in power to do the right thing. And that is the work, guys. If we all do the work, then nobody has to do all the work. If we all do a little bit of work, then nobody has to do a lot of work. All right, let us all help each other survive the next 4 years. All right, final questions. Okay, where's that W fella who I had asked a whole bunch of questions to? W, I'm not trying to push my Republican agenda in any way because I'm confused on why we want Panama and what business they conduct. Let's see here. W, I want to know why Trump wants Panama, and I'm not trying to be ignoring or ignorant. There's a lot of different reasons why Trump is doing this Panama stuff. None of it is accurate and none of it is true. So if you want to know about that, just ask Trump, I guess. Ask somebody on the right why he is doing that. I am not here to sane wash Trump or try to convince you that he is a bad person. I believe that he is. I would much rather find out why you think that the Panama thing is the only thing that you have a fucking problem with that he is doing. Let's see here. Country United Together said Democrats figure out yet why they lost. I know why they lost. It's because of people on the right spreading misinformation and disinformation. People on the right lying and cheating. That's the reason why they lost. That bald chick. What do you think about CIA buyout announcement today? The buyout announcements are all the Trump administration's attempt to purge the government of anybody that would stand in their way. So it is just removing checks and balances, and it is consolidating power. It is all that dictator Hitler shit that we were all telling you to worry about before the election. Let's see here. Jarrett, have you looked at the butterfly revolution? I have not looked at that. Let's see here. Sphinx Egyptian, good to see you again. I need a good comeback for those who defend Musk's actions. Ask them why they feel it necessary to fucking give a tongue bath to the richest person in the world who would fucking piss on them if it made him a penny more rich. Joe Wethington says opinions on the government waste found. There was no government waste found. What the Department of Government Efficiency is doing is cutting off services that poor people and marginalized groups need, and instead putting that money into their own pockets. That is what Doge is. It is a scheme for hurting people and stealing money. That is all that Doge is. John Ritchie says it is a playbook by a technocrat for overthrowing the government and installing a monarchy. Completely agree with that. W says no direct assistance won't be affected. That is a lie, W. Niche says LMAO, you're so wrong. No, I'm not. John Ritchie says, and it literally is step by step what is happening right now. Listen to John Ritchie, everybody. They know what they are talking about. Sphinx Egyptian. That's a good one. He's so rich, and we are funding his SpaceX and Tesla with our tax dollars. Yeah, completely agree with that. T. Woods says, you skipped me. I didn't see your original comment. T. Woods, also, nobody on here is entitled to a response. I get a lot of comments, and sometimes they get lost in the sauce. So, It's the Rocketeer over on Twitch says, not to mention Laken Riley's parents specifically asked Republicans to not politicize her like that. So, yeah, there's another little piece of information for your bucket. Angus, anyone against Doge is part of the problem. Nope, you are part of the problem, Angus. See you later. All right, looks like things are calming down a little bit. Pablo, yeah, good advice, nothing with any substance. Where's your proof about Doge? I don't know what you're saying here, Pablo. Are you saying that I need to provide evidence of this? Or here's my evidence. Read the news. That is my evidence. And don't just use a right-wing news source like Fox News or Breitbart or whatever. Mark, would you argue that Republicans and MAGA have different values? Not anymore. the Republican Party has become the MAGA Party. Maybe in 2016 there was a difference between MAGA and the Republican Party, but not anymore. W says, good Lord, man, we can't talk to these liberals. They get too offended with discussing policy. I'm out. Okay. Wow. What a turn, W. The weird thing is, I thought you were full of shit. The interesting thing is, I suspected you might be full of shit. And then it turns out you were full of shit. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Alrighty, let's see here. VV01, that's what I said. Wow, at the same time, actually, I said split second before you. RDX2, do you hate Trump? Yes. Dumb Trump. What the MAGA people need to realize is when Trump is done with the left, he will then go on to them. That is completely accurate. All right, listen, everybody. Comments have started calming down a little bit, so I am gonna head on out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. Let's hold on a second. Pablo says this guy gets his information by controlled state media with special interest. That is not accurate, Pablo, and you are out of here. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye, 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 goodbye.